Hello, this is for all you fans of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution series. So what we have is a TLV Limited, Tomica Limited Vintage, and it's a fairly new model, and it's going to be my fourth Lancer to enter my collection. So I'm going to compare this with 3 other brands after the usual review stuff. So the Lancer has a long legacy. There's 10 different generations of Lancer Evolution. Started in 1992, ran up to 2016, but what we're looking at is the Evo6, which came out in 1999 and was sold up until 2001. It's rated to have 280 horsepower, and one random note I found out about this car is it's the first production car to have a titanium turbine in its turbocharger. I guess all the other ones must have steel or something. Okay, so let's go into the review mode here. So I do want to say there's a disclaimer. I cherry picked this from a store. I originally wanted the blue one, but it had a bunch of scrapes in its hood in the clear coat. So the clear coat on the blue wasn't good, so I chose the silver one. And obviously it's nice. I mean, it's actually flawless because I picked it from a store before I bought it. One thing I will say though is these body panel gaps seem a bit wide. I've seen thinner out there. I think I've seen thinner from TLV even. Okay, so this is really nicely printed or painted. The wheels, they're alright. I just feel like it would be nice to have some disc brake systems, especially with so much air passing between the spokes. I mean, other brands do it. I don't know why TLV can't. It does have suspension though, although I'd rather have disc brakes because I'm not going to actually ride in this vehicle, so suspension doesn't really matter. Okay, you got some black molding here, so that's good. And it's nice to see that I don't have to put on my own mirrors like I did with my RX-7. That was just ridiculous. It would be nice to see some reflector in there though. It's just the silver paint of the rest of the body. Alright, let's go around to the back. Now as usual, the lights are awesome. Really thick plastic, a lot of depth, and even nicer is there's 3 light bulb indications in the casting itself, so that's very nice. The exhaust tip as well is dimensional, it's depth to it, so that's great. There's a bump here for the keyhole, that's great. And the printing is all well done. Crisp logo there, crisp Evolution, crisp Lancer. And even a 3rd brake light, so that looks good too. And the wing isn't so bad, it's not super thick plastic, so pretty good job. Is it level? I guess that's level, right? What do you guys think? Alright. This side, no problems. Does have the fuel filler on this side and some venting here in the bumper. Okay, so go around to the front. What I really like about the Evo6 are these giant bug-eye fog lamps, and TLV did a great job putting these inserts in there, as well as the headlights, and a great job again. It looks like there's a bulb back there, these little dots. It's probably part of the casting, I imagine. With good texture to all the vents, so that's good. And these little brake ducts here are I think there's texture in them. But they are deep at least. They look dark. It looks good. Okay, so these vents here after the radiator, that's really well done. Textured, and there's no overrun. The black just is crisply defined. It's not running over or lacking in any place. This little vent here is nice. I don't know what it's for. Maybe the air box is here. If anyone knows, leave a comment. So the exterior, let's see the bottom here, yeah, 2019, so fairly new casting, treaded tires, and I think they probably would be equal size on an all-wheel drive Mitsu like this. Okay, so that's good. It is riveted though, but the interior I don't think you really want to modify too much because it's already two-tone, which is looking pretty sweet. So we got this blue and black here, molded detail in the central cluster, and the steering wheel. Looks like there's a little texture in the middle there, right? It's like a textured plastic, so I think that gives it a little extra level of detail. Looks like it might be leather or something. No hanging mirror though. And there's a lot of distortion in this plastic. Oh well. Okay, so it's a pretty good model. I'm glad I got it in my collection. But now let's compare it to some other brands. Okay, so I have this old CM's model, and I'll be honest with you, it's not a really good model. The wheels don't even match the white, and look at this really horrible roll cage. It's super low, it's super thick. What I do like are the door handles. Look how they stick out. I feel like the door handles on this TLV should stick out the top half, right? They're totally flush with the body, but I might, yeah, let's see. If we look at the picture here, the door handles do stick out a little bit on the top half, so it would have been nice to have that, like CM's did. Oh well. Okay, so even though this isn't a great model, the paint's all messed up, but this might be a super old model. CM's doesn't say anything when stuff is made or the brand, so I'm in the dark on that. But where they do get credit is you have these extra details. This thing, 4 antennas. So you still have you have a license plate printed, whereas the TLV is just blank. So it has some benefits, I guess, some shining points. But I would still rank this as a nicer model because it's just crisper. It looks nice. It's newer. Okay, now this next model is by Inno. It's not an Evo6. It's an Evo3. But where Inno does a great job is the extra level of work they're putting in. So look at the wheels here. They're super crisp. They have printing on them, and the tires have printing on them. Super thin mud guards here. This interior, well, it actually has a window tinting because this is from a New Zealand rally, but it's still clear here, so it's probably really accurate to the real car. Look at these defroster lines, and the wiper blade is 3-dimensional. I didn't really notice that before. The wiper blades, actually, this is a trend with TLV. There's no dimensionality to it. It's just a printed graphic. It's not very realistic. Same with the back. Let's see. Yeah, it's black, but it's just smooth. So it's not very accurate, right? But the Inno does a better job. I mean, this is 3-dimensional and painted black. And they have defroster lines. And it has a reflective mirror insert. I don't know if it's plastic or chrome tape, but it is reflective. Alright, so it still has depth to the exhaust tip. Extra work, antenna, this box here. So what bothers me about TLV is they're overpricing their products. I looked on eBay, and this Inno64 is around $20 or less, but this Evo6 is $25 to $30. But it seems like this would be easier to make compared to that, right? So I would rank Inno64 better than TLV for this particular casting. But even better is this. This is an Evo6, and this is by Tarmac Works Hobby. So Tarmac Works Hobby, again, printed tires, printed wheels, extra mud guards, and the door handles in this case actually do look like the picture of the real car. They stick out a little bit. Okay, extra antennas, metal, and then the interior details. You can see these red harnesses. That's extra work. It's multiple colors as well. Where they did, I guess, skip some work is they didn't paint that rear wiper. There's a molded wiper there on the glass. It's just not painted black. But there's I guess they had to cut corners somewhere because look at everything else going on in this car. Right? It's pretty nuts, really. So, license plate again is printed. And then there's actually photo etched metal pieces here. These like hood latches. They're a separate piece of metal. And then look at these wiper blades. Very 3-dimensional and painted black. So much more realistic looking. The mirrors, they're not inserted, but at least they're silver. So extra work there as well. But really, it's this. I mean, you got 6 headlights going on with plastic inserts. So and then the base here is really nice too. And then one thing I just noticed for the first time, there's a quality control inspector number 5. So there's actual accountability at Tarmac Works factory. So this person is going to get yelled at if someone ever does a video like this and says their model looks like crap, right? Like this bent, slightly off antenna. But QC number 5, it's okay. I think you did all right. I'm happy with this model. So value-wise, guys, you know, I'm always ragging on TLV because very early on, if you look back at my history on November 27, 2020, I did a video on 15 of my first TLVs. of those 15 TLVs, 12 of them had paint problems or contaminants. They're either a stain, paint bubbling, or contaminant inside the paint. So 12 out of 15. Only 3 of those models were flawless. 3 of 15. So that's like a 80% failure rate in my book. I don't have many Innos or many Tarmacs, but they're almost flawless. I don't see any of these paint problems. When I went to the shop, this brand new car in blue had paint problems. It had scratches or something wrong with the clear coat. So I don't know, TLV, you guys gotta get out there and like realize that you're putting out substandard vehicles compared to Tarmac Works and Inno, and you're charging 30% more money. I don't know why like a lot of reviewers are saying this is the best brand out there. It's clearly not. You know, this is my opinion. Feel free to argue with me, but there's clearly more work going on in these brands. You're getting a lot more value from these two companies than that, in my opinion. Okay, so again, it is just my opinion, and I do understand it's easy to get all hyped up when you first look at a model. I mean, I gotta say, this is a great model. It is nice, but when I look at the price, I just expect it to have a brake system, disc brakes, brake calipers, an inserted mirror, maybe some defroster lines if they're thin lines, maybe some printing on the license plate. Right, so, and perhaps an antenna, like a radio, and I don't know, maybe this car doesn't have an antenna. But I feel like there's just some details that aren't on this car that you can get in other brands for less money. So that's my gripe of the day, TLV. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to collect some TLVs because I really like the subjects that you guys are doing. It's just that I have to cherry pick them from a store. It's very unlikely I'm ever going to buy one online again because I have an 80% failure rate buying online. So that's just me. Sadly, I don't get any free cars, so I'm pretty harsh with all my reviews. It's not just TLV. I'm going to soon do a review of Kyosho. I realized that most of my Kyoshos have paint bubbling. Granted, those cars are only like $4, $5 new, but still, it bothers me. That's a different thing, though. Alright, guys. Well, anyways, if you guys are looking for a Mitsubishi Lancer, I guess you can, pick your brand. Choose your poison. Alright. In a while, crocodile.